Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that really makes you think about relationships, trust, and the unexpected ways people react when their world is turned upside down. It's a story about a woman named Clara, who made a decision she thought she understood, only to find out she didn't know her husband Liam at all. Clara and Liam had what looked like a perfect life. They'd been married for 10 years, lived in a beautiful suburban house, and had 2 amazing kids. From the outside, they were the couple everyone envied. Liam was a kind, steady, and predictable man. He worked a stable job, coached their son's soccer team, and always remembered Clara's favorite flowers on their anniversary. But for Clara, that predictability had started to feel less like comfort, and more like a cage. She felt a spark was missing, a sense of adventure she craved. That's when Mark entered her life. He was a new colleague at her firm, charismatic, spontaneous, and full of exciting stories about his travels. He paid attention to her in a way she hadn't felt in years. What started as innocent lunches soon turned into late-night texts and secret meetings. Clara felt alive, desired, and for the first time in a long time, she felt like she was the main character in her own story, not just a supporting role in someone else's. After months of this double life, the guilt became unbearable, but the excitement was too addictive to give up. She decided she couldn't live in the shadows anymore. She wanted the thrill that Mark offered, not the quiet stability Liam provided. So one evening after putting the kids to bed, she sat Liam down in their perfectly neat living room, the same room where they had planned their future together. Her heart was pounding. She had rehearsed this speech 100 times, bracing herself for the fallout. She expected tears, anger, maybe even shouting. She was ready to defend her decision, to explain her need for something more. Taking a deep breath, she said the words, "Liam, I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving. I've met someone else." She watched his face, waiting for it to crumble, but it didn't. Liam just sat there, his hands resting calmly on his knees. There was no shouting, no crying, no dramatic outburst. He simply looked at her, his expression unreadable, and listened patiently as she explained everything. She told him about her feelings of being trapped, her desire for passion, her connection with Mark. She laid her heart bare, expecting a storm, but all she got was a profound, unnerving silence. When she finally finished, her voice trailing off, the silence stretched on. It felt heavier than any argument could have been. Finally, Liam cleared his throat and looked her straight in the eye. He wasn't angry, just tired. "Okay, Clara," he said softly. "I understand." Just 2 words, but they hit her harder than any accusation. "Okay?" she stammered, confused. "That's it? You're not going to fight for us? You're not even hurt?" Liam gave a small, sad smile. "Oh, I'm hurt, Clara. More than you can imagine. But I learned a long time ago that you can't force someone to love you. You can't beg someone to stay if their heart has already left." He then stood up and walked over to the bookshelf, pulling down an old, worn photo album. He sat back down beside her and opened it. The first picture was of them on their wedding day, young and full of hope. He didn't say anything, just turned the pages, pictures of their first tiny apartment. The day they brought their first child home from the hospital, family vacations, Christmases, birthdays. Each photo was a silent testament to the life they had built. Clara felt a lump forming in her throat. This wasn't the reaction she had prepared for. He wasn't making it easy for her to be the villain. After a few minutes of silent page-turning, Liam finally spoke again, his voice steady. "I know I became predictable, Clara. I know I wasn't as exciting as I used to be. My world, it got smaller. But it got smaller because I filled it with you and the kids. Every boring Saturday spent at a soccer game, every predictable family dinner. That was my adventure. My passion was seeing you all happy. Maybe I failed in showing you that. Maybe I took for granted that you felt the same." He closed the album and looked at her, his gaze clear. "I'm not going to beg. Your happiness is important, even if it's not with me." Clara was speechless. This quiet dignity, this profound sadness mixed with unwavering love. It was completely disarming. She had expected a fight that would validate her decision, make her feel justified in leaving. Instead, Liam was giving her his blessing, wrapped in the sorrow of a decade of shared memories. The man she had labeled as boring and unemotional was showing a depth of character she had completely overlooked. He was strong in a way she had never recognized. Over the next few weeks they navigated the difficult process of separating. Liam was incredibly organized and fair. He never once brought up her affair or used it against her. He focused solely on making the transition as smooth as possible for the children. He would talk to her about schedules, finances, and school events, with a calm, business-like demeanor that was almost more painful than anger. It was as if he had already accepted their new reality and moved on, while Clara felt increasingly lost. Her thrilling new life with Mark was starting to show its cracks. The spontaneity she craved now felt like instability. Mark was fun, but he wasn't a partner. He wasn't someone you could build a life with. The day the moving truck came to take her things, Liam was there, helping carry boxes. As they packed the last box into her car, he handed her a small sealed envelope. "I was going to give this to you on our anniversary next month," he said quietly. "I guess you should have it now." He didn't wait for a response. He just turned and walked back into the house, closing the door behind him. Clara sat in her car, her hands trembling as she opened the envelope. Inside was a plane ticket. A ticket for two to Florence, Italy, the place she had always dreamed of visiting. The place they had talked about going for their 15th anniversary. Tucked behind the ticket was a handwritten note. She unfolded it. It wasn't a long letter. It simply said, "Clara, I know I haven't been the most adventurous husband lately. I've been saving for this for years, hoping to surprise you and show you that we could still have our own adventures, just the two of us. I guess I was a little too late. I hope you find the adventure you're looking for. Be happy. Love, Liam." And that's when Clara finally broke. Not him. Her. The tears she had expected from him were now streaming down her own face. It was in that moment she understood. The spark hadn't died. She had just stopped seeing it. Liam's love wasn't small or boring. It was a quiet, steady fire that had been burning for her all along. She had been so busy looking for fireworks that she missed the warmth of the hearth. She looked at the ticket in her hand, and then at the closed door of the house she had once called home. The life she had with Mark suddenly seemed shallow and meaningless. She had traded a diamond for a stone that glittered, and the realization was crushing. His final words weren't words of anger or blame. They were words of selfless love, and they left her utterly and completely speechless, with nothing but the deafening sound of her own regret. This story is a powerful reminder to appreciate the quiet, steady love in our lives, and to not take stability for granted. Sometimes the greatest adventures are the ones we build day by day, with the people who truly care for us. Thank you so much for watching.